What a bowl season it's been. We say hello now to Nick Carparelli. First of all, we can take a little bit about bowl expansion history because we had 40 bowls this year. So many folks able to see and watch some quality college football, to which now I do say hello to Nick Carparelli, the Executive Director of Bowl Season. And Nick, you talk about a busy couple of weeks for you because we really don't stop in the month of December and early January. What's the key takeaway from bowl season now almost complete?
Well, I think the key takeaway is bowl season and all the bowl games are very, very meaningful to a lot of people. You know, we're really focused on the playoff and what an amazing 2 games those were. If we have a game on Monday night, even close to those 2, I think we'll all be happy with that. But so many other great games that were so meaningful to a lot of teams. I mean, I'm thinking about the Gator Bowl where Notre Dame beat South Carolina. Game that went down to the wire. The Holiday Bowl, Oregon had to hit an extra point, went off the upright and in to beat North Carolina by a point. And then how about that Liberty Bowl? Kansas goes to a bowl game for the first time in a long time. Big comeback in the fourth quarter, go to overtime, lose to Arkansas. None of those teams would be in any form of playoff that's been contemplated, but yet those games are really, really meaningful to those teams and really exciting for the fans to watch.
Nick, it's interesting because for the first time, we now know that we will have playoff expansion. It's been suspected for a few seasons, but now we know. And so things will have to change, and there'll have to be some adjustments. As you start your planning, how are you looking toward what will be a college football playoff expansion?
That's a great question. As you can imagine, Wendy, it's one I get asked very often. First and foremost, we love the college football playoff. You know, this sport, as great as it is, needs a great mechanism to crown a national champion. But we feel that bowl season is just as important, if not more so, to a greater number of institutions and a greater number of student athletes. 12 spots in any postseason system in college football is not enough to serve 130 institutions. Let's face it, college football is not an even playing field. Programs are at different points in their development or different points as they're trying to evolve and maybe potentially get to that playoff someday. So they need these bowl games experiences. They need the 2 extra weeks of practice. They need to be able to play the young guys so that they can get a little bit of glimpse to next season. Bowl games are both a reward for the current season, but oftentimes a launching point for the following season. So what I have to say is that as important as the college football playoff is, bowl season is just as important, and college football's postseason is made up of both of those equally.
Fair enough, Nick, and we understand, at least in the initial planning, that those first-round playoff games will be played on campuses. The higher seed will have the opportunity to host those games. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, we're not a big fan of that, I'll be honest with you. You know, I think for a couple of reasons. I think, one, with all the logistical issues, I think it's really hard with the tight 2-week turnaround that's going to be necessary for a campus. Oftentimes, college communities don't have a lot of hotel rooms to be able to turn that around so quickly, put all the hospitality elements together, the hotel. Weather could be an issue. If this year is any indicator, we would have saw a game played in Columbus, Ohio, that was really under treacherous conditions, and I'm not sure that's what we want for postseason college football. The other is for the atmosphere and the emotional experience. You know, I've heard a lot this season about the great home environment that some of the games we saw this year. And I think as human beings, we're kind of creatures of the moment. We have very short memories of what atmospheres were like in the past and what they could be in the future. And I was reminded of that personally. I was at the Rose Bowl this year. Half the stadium was red, half was white. I remembered back to that great national championship game with Vince Young and Texas beating USC. I was at the Fiesta Bowl this year with half purple, half maize and blue. And it's such a unique environment where you have 2 fan bases that are equally being served. Never a dull moment in the building. When one team's playing well, that fan base rises up. When the other team is playing well, their fan base rises up. It's almost like the fans are playing the game against each other in the stands simultaneous with the teams doing it on the field. And that's such a unique atmosphere. And it's something I really hope we don't lose in the new playoff system.
All right, Nick, thank you. Lots of planning, lots of changes coming. We look forward to it. Appreciate you being with us this afternoon.